Hi everyone, so if you want to do some metal work, the first thing you're going to need is some metal. We're going to be working with sheet metal to begin with, so flat sheets of metal. You can normally buy them in different sizes. You can put in the size that you want, or sometimes with things like copper and brass they sell them in pre-sized sheets such as 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters squared. We're going to be working with 0.5mm thick, because that's thick enough to be able to take a nice texture, but it's still thin enough to work with easily and cut with the shears easily, which we're going to look at in a second. So sheet metal, 0.5mm thick. When you're choosing your metal, there's two main types you can go for. You get precious metal and you get non-precious metal. So precious metal is things like silver and gold. Non-precious metal are metals like copper and brass, or they also get called base metals. Now, copper and brass, you don't get as much choice in terms of what you can get silver in. Silver you can get every different thickness, shape, size, dimension. Copper and brass, a little bit more limited. But you can still get hold of them fairly easily, and they're a lot cheaper than silver, so they're absolutely perfect when you're practicing, when you're learning, or when you're trialling ideas for the first time. Some suppliers, including Kernowcraft, also sell bronze and gilding metal, which are really nice metals as well. They're sort of similar colours. The bronze is a bit more pinky like copper, and the gilding metal is a little bit more yellowy like brass. But again, you don't get the same choice of thickness when you're ordering them, but they're definitely worth playing with later on if you want to have a go. If you're only going to choose one type of metal for working with on this project, I'd go for some copper. The reason being is it's a fraction of the price of silver, but it reacts and works in a very similar way to silver. It's softer than brass. Brass is a little bit of a harder metal, not so much to put you off using it, but just in comparison to sort of traditional silversmithing, it's slightly harder. And it's more versatile, so further down the line when we're looking at different techniques, there's more things you can do with this in terms of ways of colouring it and stuff like that. So copper's a good choice, but I'm partial to a little bit of brass. Oh, and remember, quite often when you buy them, they're covered in plastic, so don't be put off if it turns up a bit of a weird colour. Once you have your metal that you want to work with, you need some way of imparting your design onto it that you want to cut out. So there's various ways you can go about that. If it has got a plastic covering on it, which they put on the metal to help stop it picking up little scratches, you could draw straight onto there with a pen. If it doesn't have that, or you don't want to draw on the plastic, you could draw straight onto your metal surface, and again you could use a permanent marker pen to do that, it's not a problem. Another technique that people talk about quite a lot, I've never tried, is to draw your design onto a piece of paper and use Pritt stick to stick it onto your metal. The reason I've never bothered trying doing it is because presumably that glue is going to leave a residue on your metal when you're finished, and you're going to have to spend some time removing that. And equally, if you were then going to heat your metal with a blowtorch, in theory that glue could be giving off some toxic fumes which you don't want to be breathing in. So the traditional way of marking your work, so you've got a guideline of what you want to cut out, is to use what's called a scribe. It's a piece of steel, usually looks a bit like a pencil, but it's got a very, very sharp pointed end on there, and you would use it to literally scribe or score your line onto your metal. So you see just there. Now, I don't like using this technique because, as you can probably see from here, there's not a huge amount of contrast between the line that you're wanting to cut and the metal, especially when the light bounces on it. So I've got another way, which I'll talk to you about in a second, but if you did want to do the traditional method and you don't have a scribe, you can use anything sharp and pointy. You've probably got something around the house like a pair of dividers or a compass, or you could use a little tack, nail, screw, just something that's pointy, sharp and has a flat end to it. We talked about centre punches the other day, so again you could use those. The way I like to mark my metal is to take some masking tape and literally just plop it, technical term, straight onto your metal. Fold those spare bits away, or you could rip them off. And now I have a nice surface that I can draw onto my metal with any sort of pencil or pen that I choose to do that with. And as we said a minute ago, the finer the tip, the better, because if you draw a line with a really chunky pen and you start off cutting on the outside of that line and then you end up cutting on the middle or the inside of that line, that could be a few mil difference. Whereas if you've got a very thin line that you're following, you know exactly where it is you're aiming to cut your work. When you're ready to draw your design, there's various ways you can go about it. You could just draw something freehand, or you can get hold of little shape templates. These are really useful. These are just generic ones. You find them in stationery shops and things like that. You can get some jewellery specific ones, which are quite nice. And then again, similar to these, little fancy ones. Now, these ones can be quite expensive. And they're only very, very thin plastic. So what you could do in theory, I've never tried it yet, but I should do, is print out designs from the computer or hand draw some designs and then run it through a laminating machine. And ideally, if your machine can handle it, put 2 or 3 laminating pouches so it's a little bit thicker, and then use a scalpel to cut out the designs, and then you have a template that you can draw. I decided I'm going to use this one. So I take my shape template, I take the thing that I'm going to draw with. And I always say it's like having a piece of paper. You wouldn't want to draw something that you're going to cut out slap bang in the middle of your piece of paper, because it's wasteful of the paper and then you're cutting for ages before you get to the thing that you're trying to cut out. So instead, as much as possible, try and keep close to your edges, more economical. And then I'm going to draw my shape and I'm going to make a pair, so I'm going to stick another one directly below it. Like so. Nice, clear, easy line to see, ready for cutting out. So, as some of you might have seen in the intro video, we're going to do our cutting this month using a pair of jeweller's shears, or snips as they're sometimes called. Now, I apologise in advance, I am notorious for chopping and changing the name of things, so if you're ever unsure, just shout and I can clarify. But the annoying thing in the jewellery industry is lots of tools have multiple names for the same things. So these, like I say, often get called snips, tin snips, metal cutters, shears. But these are what we're going to be using. And what we discussed in the first video is there's 2 main types that you can get. You can buy them with curved jaws for cutting round curves, and you can buy them with straight jaws for cutting straight sections. These ones are spring loaded, so it makes it a bit easier to do the cutting motion. And these ones are slightly more heavy duty, so these you could cut up to about 1 mil thick material. All the normal jeweller's shears, you're looking about 0.6 mil thick metal. So a quick bit of health and safety. The first thing is, if you're cutting anything out, there's always the chance that it's going to ping around the room. So although most people don't wear eye protection when they're cutting sheet metal, obviously it's always going to be safer if you've got something over your eyes. A good pair of wraparound goggles are the preference, or when you're doing lower risk activities like this, but you just want to have a little bit of protection, and you wear glasses, it's sometimes good to pop those on, because then at least you've got something just in case a little bit of metal goes pinging around the room. Right, so health and safety with shears. These are very, very sharp. It's very rare that I've had anybody hurt themselves with the jaws of the shears where they're sharp. But what does happen all the time is people manage to stick their finger between here and squeeze, and you get a nasty blood blister, or even worse, with these curved bottom ones, they tense and snip, and then you nick your tummy fat, and oh my goodness, is it painful. Okay, so I've got my piece of metal marked out, I've got the shears I want to use, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this down to a more manageable size without nipping my fingers. There we go, and then I'm going to do the same so I've got my 2 pieces. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around this curve. In theory, the further back in the jaw that I can cut it, the easier it will be. Now, can you see with these straight ones, I'm sort of having to nibble my way around a little bit. I'm going to show you the curved ones in a second so you can see the difference. Just taking my time, cutting as close to the line as possible, and when I can't cut right on the line, I'm just going just outside of it. This time I'm going to use the curved shears, and the curve goes with the curve that you're trying to cut. And again, I'm going to go as far back in the jaw as it will let me. and it's a little bit harder to cut the sheets because, like I say, these ones aren't heavy duty, but it is easier for me to follow the curve of my line. So you don't need both. If you're only going to have one pair of shears, definitely go for a straight pair. But if I just show you the difference, I don't know if you can see, this one with the straight shears is a little bit more wibbly wobbly than this one that I just cut with the curvy ones. So another little bit of health and safety, as soon as you start cutting metal you end up with these super sharp curly bits, quite often sticking off the edge of pieces of metal, or just the corners in general are really sharp. It's very easy to end up sticking your finger on that. So the first thing is just be aware. Sharp things around when you're finished with them. If you're not using them, maybe put them in a little dish or something out of the way, and be aware when you're picking up bits of metal there may be sharp elements to it. The other thing is, because it's so easy just to stick your finger on them, I always have a first aid kit in the studio or the area that I'm working. It's the same as if you're cooking and you're using knives. Just know that you've got some plasters. Ideally have things like antiseptic around because you're going to be working with dusty materials, and just know where they are so that they're easy access. But if you're careful, then hopefully there's no reason why you should be needing them. But it's just good to know that you've got them to hand. Sometimes when you cut metal out it sort of bows and warps a little bit, so I've got a bit of a curve on this. So this is where your non-metal hammers come into play, like we were talking about the other day. So this is a rawhide mallet. You can also use a nylon or a rubber mallet from the pound shop, that's completely fine, but these are considered the best quality, and a good brand is Thor. The way to flatten your metal is to pop it on your steel block, take your mallet and gently tap. Now if you've got a curve in your metal and you're trying to flatten it out, if you put it so that the curve is going up and over like a rainbow and hit down, it will want to flatten. If you're holding it so it's curved up like a bowl and you hit down, it's going to resist it. So like a rainbow, gentle taps. What you don't want to do is go to town with the hammering, partly because it's really noisy and partly because it's going to harden your metal and make life harder for you in the following stages.